That sort of commitment to women's sport and driving women's sport is kind of what I'm going to touch upon here. I've been asked to kind of give a bit of background as to where Saracens Women kind of came from, the evolution. It's a bit of a sort of trip down memory lane, but then also to kind of tee up what's gone before, but then also look into the future as well. So Lewis had some, fancy diagrams. I've just got some dodgy mullets from 1989. So one thing that's continued throughout the 32 years of Saracens Women is that sense of family, that sense of togetherness, a sense of belonging, and also that drive for excellence, and that's like excellence on the pitch and excellence off the pitch. And one of the things we're really proud of is, leading the way in the women's game. So we're the most successful women's club in the country. It was easier doing this presentation previously to the final that we just passed. So that number's maybe slightly lower than it should be. But yeah, we've won some trophies, and the reason that we've done that is because we've developed players. Could we be even more successful? Absolutely. And I think the part that we really need to kick on and invest in is our links with the local community, and sort of touching on what Lewis was saying earlier around that pathway development, working with you guys to help identify talent, to nurture talent, and drive players through, so hopefully they'll be part of this setup, but also off the pitch in terms of not everyone is going to be the next Poppy Cleal. Right. Not everyone wants to be the next Poppy Cleal. People want to play rugby recreationally, and we want to support that as well. We want to encourage people into the game and encourage people to come and watch as well here at the stadium. So one of the things we want to be is pioneering, and you'll recognise some familiar faces. We've been really, really fortunate to have 3 England Centurions at the club. We've had Rocky, we've had Tamara, Amy Garnett, who's now moved down to Chiefs. Maggie Alfonsi's an absolute legend of the game, and it's how do we nurture that next generation of Maggies and Poppies. And then we've got people behind the scenes, so Bird, who is now in the World Rugby Hall of Fame. She's one of the founding members of the club. Way back when, was being asked to dish out serve the men's post-match meals to be able to play when we were over in Southgate. So I think what we want to do is we want to look at how we're developing the whole person, not just the player, and that's where I think there are real opportunities to link in with the community, and how do we expose our players not just on the pitch, but how do we engage them with local clubs to inspire the next generation and become those role models. And sort of moving forward and looking forward, one of the core objectives, strategic objectives of Saracens is to be at the forefront of women's sport, and it's a bold statement. And Lucy Ray, who owner of Saracens, she's fully behind this. She's been an athlete herself. She's been a woman in sport. She knows what the barriers are, and she's fully invested in trying to drive this club forward. And one of the various different ways that we can look to do that. So winning matches is great, but that's just a snapshot of it. That's not what we want to sort of hang our hat on solely. We want to be about making memories, about bringing people with us on the journey. So we're trying to look at different ways that we can engage and push forward. And it's easy to say we want to be at the forefront of women's sport. What does that actually mean? So one of the things that we looked to implement last season was the live streams. So we were one of the only clubs that took the decision to invest in live streaming every single one of our home matches. So when we couldn't have fans here because of COVID, we could get out there and get people watching. And we had tens of thousands of views across the season, which was absolutely fantastic. And that's something that we want to look to do moving forward as well. So in tandem of growing our fan base and growing our audience to actually physically come to the stadium, we also want to be able to engage with people that might not be able to physically get into the stadium. And like I say here, just giving girls the opportunity to play. And we, like I said, I think we have a huge opportunity to work with you guys, and I'm not going to kind of stamp on the next bit that's coming, but asking you guys for what you want to see from us. I think sometimes there's the temptation to go, we think we know what you want, so we're going to put stuff on. We need to engage with you. We want to know what you want from us and how we can move forward together, because otherwise we're just filling in the blanks and it might not actually work that well. So one of the things that we're looking at potentially doing is a kind of train with the pros event. So getting England and their international players coming down for an evening and coaching, bringing people here and coaching your players in your clubs, kind of putting people on the spot. Does that, is that something that sounds, we're talking about, the players, we see them on the TV, but we want them to be accessible role models. We want them to be in front of them, and actually for Amali to say, actually, I started my career at, under 12s and here I am now. And just, I think that's one of the unique things in the women's game, that we're still at the point where, our players can, they're not untouchable. Sometimes in the men's game, it's like, oh no, we can't go and speak to them because they're the men's team. And, whereas actually, our players feel that it's their kind of almost their sort of responsibility and their duty to bring it forward, which is fantastic. We don't even really need to push them. They want to do it because they're the sort of custodians of the game to move it forward. So I think that's where we're at the moment. Is we want to. It sounds like I'm just sort of, we haven't got any of our own ideas really, and we're just going, right, give us some good ideas and we're going to nick them. But asking you guys how we can support you, because it's a partnership. If it's going to help you, inevitably it's going to help us as well. And that might be because through the pathway in terms of developing talent, or it might be in terms of developing a fan base. We've got a huge stadium out there, and rattling around it during COVID was pretty lonely. Like, we want to get to a stage where, if you go to some of the Women's Football Super League matches, or if any of you have watched any of the 100, the cricket at the moment, it's absolutely browned. Like, how can we learn the lessons, and how can we engage that next generation of players to come into the game and get behind it? Okay, football's had a bit of a head start on us, but no one wants to watch football really, if we're honest. So how do we get people watching the game and getting behind what we're doing? And one of the other things that we're looking to do this season is just trying something new. This is something that we've never tried before. The women's games have always been included in a men's Saracens seasonal membership. We've made the decisions that actually we have got the best. We are playing in the top league in the country with some of the best internationals in the world. We don't want to be a bolt-on. It shouldn't just be a kind of freebie add-on. Actually, we want this as a standalone product, and we want to be able to bring it to people at a price point that's affordable. And actually, just because you buy a men's season ticket doesn't necessarily mean that you want to watch the women's, and actually some of the people that want to watch the women's don't want to watch the men's. So actually carving out a kind of audience of interested fans specifically for the women's game. So that's something that we've launched this season. And I've been told that our fixtures should be coming out at 10:30 tomorrow morning. I'll take that with a pinch of salt, because that's the RFU that have said that, and the timeframes could move, but that's what we've been told that we're working towards. But something like this, I think it's different, it's unique. We're looking at how we can make this a different proposition to what other clubs are doing. And it's only 65 quid and you get 11 games, so I think that's pretty affordable. £32 if you're a junior, so it really is an absolute bargain. And one of the things that I just want to kind of finish on is the fact that we've got some incredible role models, and they want to get stuck in, they want to get involved, and we as a club need to get better at understanding what the needs are of the communities that we work with and are around us, so we can sort of better work with you. After this session, I'd be really interested to kind of get your feelings on what the direction of travel that we should be going in. But I think just encouraging your players within your clubs to basically like link in with the players that we've got here, and we can facilitate those kind of introductions and getting players into clubs and running sessions. And Teresa and Del will talk about the matchday festivals, but just really harnessing the sort of the power of these positive role models and not underestimating kind of how important they are in driving the game forward. So that is very sort of brief, but ultimately like making some special memories. And I know it all sounds quite fluffy and nice, but ultimately we wouldn't all be sat here on a kind of rainy Thursday afternoon if we didn't care about the game. Like, we all want to, I want to leave the game in a better place when I eventually walk off into the sunset. I'm pretty sure everyone else in this room does. And I think it's all about collaboration and not seeing it as kind of, well, we don't want to share anything because that club over there might nick it. Actually thinking, well, collectively, and we've started to do this a bit more across the Premier 15s clubs, start talking more, and it's taken ages to get to this stage where we're going, actually, do you know what? We're all going to benefit from this if we start talking. I think that's how we should feel in this room, that less defensive about things and actually let's get some good ideas on the table, because ultimately it's going to grow the game and it's going to be in a better state.